Yo, what's up everybody? My name is Jacob Crash, and today I'm going to be talking about different color profiles that are available on most DSLR and mirrorless cameras. Now this also does apply to some cinema cameras like the Sony FX3 or the Canon C70 or any of the C100, 200, or 300 lineups for the Canon cameras. It also applies to Panasonic Lumix lineups and Sony's Alpha series, NEX series, almost every camera that can shoot video out there. And right now I am shooting on my Nikon D4, which is a 2012 camera, but it's got a full frame sensor and is able to shoot 1080p at 24 frames per second, which is the frame rate I am currently shooting at. Also, I'm using a separate microphone. I'm also using an external monitor that's color calibrated so I can see everything to make sure it looks actually correct. And so I'm also going to tell you what lights I'm using, because usually I film at night, so it doesn't always look the best, but I'm actually filming during the day right now. It is currently, well, my watch died. It is currently 1:25, and I am got my window open with the blinds just slightly closed, and I have blackout curtain. If I open my blackout curtain, it'd be overexposed right here, as you can tell. But if I put the blackout curtain, just allowing light to hit me from this side, it gives a nice shadow, and yeah. Yeah. But let's get right into this. So I'm currently shooting in my own custom log profile because this camera does not come natively with any log profiles. So I am shooting in my own flat color profile. I just call it Cine Log J, as in Cine Log, Cinema Log Profile Jacob, because I made it myself. So it works well with the shadows and everything, so I can do color grading and post-production later. But I'll also be showing you the standard profile, the neutral color profile, and then the portrait and landscape profiles, as well as an available log profile that you can download for free on the internet for Nikon cameras. But personally, I don't like this profile because it just completely washes out the shadows, and the shadows look horrible, and even the highest highlights look very inaccurate and very, very washed out, and everything just looks very, mediocre. It's not a great profile. So I will show you it, and if you guys like that look, then you guys can get it. I'll put the link to the video where I got it on the internet in the description down below, but personally it's not my top pick. But so we're first going to start off with the standard color profile. For Nikon, Canon, Sony, Panasonic, Olympus, Fujifilm, all these different camera lineups, they always have their own standard color profile, which is, well, in the name, standard. That's what when you first open the box, you just hit record, it's using that color profile, where it is very contrasty. It tends to have some digital sharpening, which isn't really the most cinematic thing out there. It may look good in the moment, but it usually is very inaccurate and just overall doesn't look great. And the color reproduction isn't always the best, although it may look more vibrant and more punchy. It's better to do that in post-production anyway. But it's okay if you want to take down the sharpness. It could, be okay. But you do lose a lot of detail in your highlights and in your shadows. So if you're trying to do film and stuff like that, I wouldn't suggest using a standard profile. Then there is the neutral profile, which is better for film. It has zero sharpening. It does tend to bring down the contrast, or maybe down to a lesser points, but you can always adjust these, in the settings and create your own custom profiles if you'd like. And it also, sometimes it may look like the vibrance and saturation is brought down, and that's because it's set to standard saturation and not bumped up by usually 2 or 3 stops, which is what standard does. And then there's a vivid mode, or sometimes it's listed as portrait, and that brings up the saturation as high as possible in camera, so it makes the colors pop and very punchy, but doesn't exactly mean it gives the best image quality overall. It still has that digital sharpening and an insane contrast, which means you lose a lot of detail in your highlights and your shadows, which you really don't want to lose that. You want to have as much flexibility as possible in case you accidentally underexpose something or you accidentally overexpose something. So then you'll be able to get good detail that isn't lost, and so you don't, have to worry about getting a bunch of digital noise if you're trying to bring up the shadows to fix an underexposed shot, or get a really blown out highlight and have it stay there because you overexpose the footage. Then we have my custom log profile, which I am currently shooting in, and then obviously I've just color graded to it. So if I get rid of like a color grade, and you can see it with the color grade, and so I'll give you a before and after, and it looks pretty good. Yeah, it allows you to have a lot of details in the shadows and also have a lot of details in the highlights. So I have a lot to work with in post-production, which is, the best scenario you want. You really want to be able to work with a lot. And then in post, if your footage isn't sharp enough, just add an unsharpening mask in like Premiere Pro or DaVinci Resolve, and do something like that if you want sharper footage that doesn't make it look super, super nasty. So yeah. And then so on Nikon there is a landscape one, which is very similar to the Vibrant one. It's just takes down some of the sharpening and then just punches all those colors, and it kind of shifts more to a greener look in camera, which isn't always the best for skin tones, but yeah. And then we've got this log profile for Nikon that isn't made by Nikon. It's just made by a random guy, which it doesn't really look that great. It's really washed out, and obviously if I color grade to it, it will look better, but it still personally doesn't give me the look that I like out of cameras, especially this Nikon camera. This Nikon camera does have 8-bit color, so I mean, you don't have a lot to work with overall, but it's not a great profile, and I'd much rather, if you guys want to use my profile, I will leave a link in the description down below to the settings that I made it to, so you can use this profile. And I did make it on Nikon camera, but is identical to my profile on my Canon Rebel T3. So if you want to use on a Canon camera, you can, because they're identical. I think the only thing I did was on my Canon Rebel, since I was shooting at 720p, I wanted to have a little bit of a sharper image, so I brought up the sharpening by maybe 2 stops. But since this is 1080p, I don't have to worry about that. But the settings are literally identical, so you can use this on a Canon camera or Sony camera, any camera you want. And if it doesn't look just quite right, because skin tones are different for every camera, and every camera has different color science, you can adjust it to your liking. But there you go. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you guys benefited from it. If you have any questions, please comment down below. I will do my best to answer them, or email tb10studios@gmail.com, and I can answer them there too. If you also want to suggest a video, then go ahead, email us at tb10studios@gmail.com, and I will see what I can do. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.